Dr. Loth and Dr. Pruce had, asked me to put together a brief presentation on kind of my own thoughts, my own experiences, but also my own thoughts for you all. And also I have some cool pictures throughout this as well. What I'm going to talk about basically is kind of the basics that I kind of felt that I needed in school. The second part is how not to hurt your future career. Third, the job search, then interviewing, and then when you first start. And word of warning, unfortunately, we do not have battleships anymore. So don't come in the Navy thinking you're going to be working with these ships. They're just this cool picture. So my first advice is just to get the basics down. And you've probably heard this many times, but you need to focus on your communication skills. This is both oral presentations and also with lab reports, technical reports, basically how to get your information across to someone else. You can be an awesome engineer. You can be, have the best ideas in the world, but if you can't present it or if you can't convey it to someone else appropriately or properly, I wouldn't say you're useless, but you're not much better than the next guy down the block. Lab reports and technical reports really strive to be, you almost have to be nitpicky about what you put. I mean, font sizes, how things are kind of laid out. The more effort you put into taking care of just the individual details, the better it looks on you, and the better it gets your point across. Second, focus on your engineering basics. On the left-hand column, I list out physics, calculus, statics, and dynamics. With these four things, probably a few other things, maybe like if you're a chemistry major, you want to look at chemistry, or electrical engineering, you want to stay with the electrical side too. But as a mechy and aerocentric slide, I guess, these four things, you can then kind of, you can come up with any other classes you've had. You can, the jet propulsion classes and the rocket propulsion classes and heat transfer, stuff like that, they're good to have, but you can always, if you get these four down, you can always pick up a book later on down the road, as I've done many times, and reread that book and get it back again. But you really need to kind of stress these four here. At least that's my personal opinion. Your professors might have different opinions, but and on the other side, I list out numerical analysis. Look at your software and get your, I know we all hate it, but Microsoft Office. Everyone uses Microsoft Office. You're not going to get away from that. The reason why I put down numerical analysis is because a lot of times I'll get a big chunk of data and I'll have to use either MATLAB or Excel to boil it down to the meat of what the data is telling me. Other times I've run into problems when there's one project I'm working on where they said, okay, we have the contractor's telling us the physics are going to do this. The projectile is going to perform this way. You go and verify it for the U.S. government. So I get my physics book out and I get the MATLAB out and my numerical methods analysis handbook out, and I code someone up and I come back and say, all right, contractor's right, or the contractor is completely pulling our leg. So that's one of the other things I would say get the basics down on. This is a big thing. Since most of you, maybe not most, but a lot of you are going to want to end up working in a Department of Defense industry sort of job. So that doesn't mean you're working for the Navy or the Air Force, but if you work for Lockheed or Northrop Grumman or any of the smaller contractors, you're going to have to get a clearance. And to get a clearance, you have to have a background check. Now the thing is, you can really easily hose yourself today down the road. So the first thing I have up there is keep your credit debt to the minimum. So don't go off and start spending just crazy amounts of cash. You don't want to end up your college career $20,000 in debt. It doesn't look good on you. Second, just no drugs. I just leave it at that. You know. Third, be responsible with alcohol. We understand, and I've mentioned this to a few kids before, but we all know that you're all going to be stupid. But mom and dad and everyone else has told you what's the difference between stupid and stupid, okay? So Your job is to not be stupid. So, because what happens is, when you fill out this this background, when you fill out your form, you're going to go talk to your friends, and your friends are going to be like, oh, well, yeah, Jim and I, we used to go out and get hammered, blah 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 blah, and so when they start seeing that, they're like, well, this guy, or for one, if you don't put it down on your paperwork in the first place, if you lie about it, that's basically an instant you're done. If you lie on your form, you never get a second chance. So even if you have done some stupid or even a little bit more than stupid, be completely honest about it when you get your paperwork. Otherwise, you are done. There's thousands, tens of thousands of other candidates out there who want the exact same job as you. Don't screw it up for yourself by lying on that form. And as I have, my fourth bullet is be trustworthy and responsible. Now is the time to really start internalizing that, that into your life. So if there's anything that you walk away from today remembering is what you do now can come back to haunt you. That is by far that's my takeaway slide right here. I have more slides, but that's my takeaway point is what you do now can come back to haunt you. So consider yourself warned. So now that I've scared you, we're going to the job search. I know for a fact that WVU has lots of job training facilities available, or excuse me, job search training facilities available. They have resume reviewers. So take your resume to the Career Center and say, hey, I want you to look at this, check for spelling errors or just things that can work better, because most likely most of you have never had to apply for a job outside of college before. They will be able to help you. Second is mock interviews. Going to mock interview, I would say even get all dressed up, start practicing how to do a real interview. And so you want to make it as realistic as possible for yourself. And third, there's career sites all over the place. There's career websites, I assume at West Virginia. There's other, how to use Google. You can Google, how do I make my resume better? Utilize that information. So now the job search. So you have your resume and you want to get it out there. I have used 3 of these 4 techniques before. Career fairs, just go to a career fair and just start talking to people. Those are actually really helpful because you get one-on-one, you get FaceTime with a potential employer. The career websites, you can, I don't know if monster.com is still around, but I know there's probably other career websites out there that you can put your resumes on, and I've been hired by that before too. The Career Center, West Virginia has a good one. Go to that. Then there's also soliciting employers directly. You can either go to their websites and throw them a resume that way, or what I did when I got my first job, I actually took about 30 resumes, got my coat and tie on, went out to Dahlgren, and went to all the contractors right outside of base. And I took an entire day and walked into every single contractor, said, here, sir, I'm fresh out of college, I'm looking for a job. 90% of them said, thank you, throw them in the trash. Don't let that be discouraged. Don't let that discourage you. But what that actually does show is that you're taking the initiative. And I'd say I had about 5 people actually, kind of say, hey, why don't you come and sit down? We'll discuss this, right now, and we'll get an idea of what you are as a person, what you're looking for. That is how I got my first job, and it really did work. So if there's a certain area where you live, or up in DC or wherever you're from, if you know that there's a certain area with a bunch of contractors, don't be hesitant to put on a suit and tie, and go out there and with a whole bunch of resumes. You might end up pleased. And I throw in a couple dope cartridges for you. Interviewing. You've thrown your resume at the company, and they call you up for an interview. So the first thing you need to do is you need to research the company. Okay, you need to know what they do. It sounds silly, but I have had people come before and have absolutely no idea what we do at Dahlgren. So you're in the Navy. What do you? Well, this is the Air Force. But so second thing, you can go to Google. You can find lists of questions that interview questions. Look at the questions and practice your answers. This really helps you out. Third thing, dress well. If the way you dress is a show respect for the person you're going to go talk to. If you show up in jeans and t-shirt, the person's going to think that you really just don't care about how the interview's going to go. I cannot stress this enough. If it just, even without a jacket, if you just go shirt and tie, that's usually good enough. But I mean, put some effort into it. That really does help. Fourth, be courteous and on time. I have had one interview when they showed up about 15 minutes late. The interview was done before they got the first word out of their mouth. He tried to blame it on traffic, but I was like, well, you know what traffic is like. I wasn't rude to him, but in my mind, it's like, you know what traffic's like. You should be there 30 minutes beforehand just in case traffic does go crazy. Just be on time, and also be courteous when you say thank you sir, thank you ma'am. You know how to be courteous. Mom, dad taught you right. At least I hope. And fourth thing, don't panic. This is a word of advice that one of my friends gave me one time before I gave a presentation at an international conference. He said, "Remember, they can't eat you." And I was like, "You're right." Like, there's nothing that the people I was presenting to could do. The worst they can do is not clap. And the same thing with the interview. The worst they can do is tell you no. So what? There's always going to be other interviews and other jobs to come afterwards. All right. So how are we doing? Time?
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. So you did the interview. You aced the interview. Now you're first day on the job. Don't stress yourself out. Everyone understands you're new. You will probably not really understand what's going on for the first year. And I've heard before, and I think this is true, the company you work for is assuming they're not actually going to make the money they pay you off the first 2 years. You're going to be a loss for the first year or two that you're there. So don't go in fretting yourself and be like, oh, I really have no idea what they're talking about. They understand. Second, be respectful. Your coworkers know a lot more than you do, and you have to use them as your... Well, you have to go in their office sometimes and say, hey, I really have no idea what the MDR paper means. What the heck does MDR mean? So you have to be respectful. I have seen kids come in, act cocky, act as if they know how the joint is run, and that completely turns everybody off to them. So, third, be heard. If you have an idea, even if it's a stupid idea, if it's an idea, speak up, talk about it. Ask, hey, you can come back in the room and say, hey, how about doing this? And most of the time you'll get shot down and they'll say, well, we can do it that way because X, Y, Z. But one, it shows initiative. And two, you get information back from them. So, okay, well, we can do it because of X, Y, Z. Fourth, get involved. As I say here, the more involved you are in the organization, the quicker you understand the organization. That's with anything in life, not just a job, but as you've probably seen at university, sports team, whatever it is, the more active you are, the easier it is to kind of fit in and understand how it works. So my last slide, ask a lot of questions. The same thing as here when a professor says there are no dumb questions, same thing at work. So there are no dumb questions. ACE actually asks questions what all these acronyms are for. And my last word of advice, this is kind of my own personal observation, sit at the table. Well, what will happen is, every once in a while you go into a meeting, there will be a big table in the center with big cushy chairs around the outside, and there'll be a whole lot of smaller chairs like this around the outside, right? Okay? A lot of times the younger workers will go sit on the outside because they're worried that they don't want to be seen by the higher ups, right? Sit at the big table. You have to use a little bit of logic to this because if it's a meeting with a whole bunch of bigwigs, then don't take one of their seats. But if you sit at the table with everyone else, if it's just a normal standard meeting, that means, as I said before, you're trying to get involved with the organization. And it helps you be seen, it just helps all around.